Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. We have these boycotts going on. For example, the LCBO is refusing to sell Russian alcohol. Not that there's really a lot of Russian alcohol out there. I mean, one or two brands of vodka at the most. It's not really one of their major exports, so it's really no skin off their nose. But I found some companies that are not at all participating in the boycott. One of them is McDonald's. Yep, the clown prince of burgers himself has not stopped operating in Russia. I guess it's okay to take their money and sell them food. McDonald's always thinks they're above the law and they're above reproach because they know, unfortunately, we're going to be sheep and we're going to wind up going back to them. I personally don't like them much, but I got a 9-year-old and that stupid McDonald's meal has its attractions. So I'm not condemning anybody that goes to McDonald's, but want to start boycotting, there's one good place to start. Pepsi is another company that is not slowing down its trade with Russia. Here's a little history with Pepsi, though. The Russians have had a long history of working with Pepsi. Even before the Berlin Wall fell, even before the USSR fell, Pepsi was all over in Russia. It goes back to a little competition at one of the World Trade Fairs in the 1960s, where Richard Nixon and I think it was Khrushchev was the Soviet premier at the time. I could be incorrect. And a Pepsi advertising executive just wanted to get a picture of both of them holding a can of Pepsi. Well, he got his wish, and it is a great photo opportunity. My hat is off to whoever that marketing executive was. He had a vision, he got it done, and it's a powerful thing to have the two most powerful leaders in the world together holding your product. Pepsi, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they were selling Pepsi in droves to Russia. When the Soviet Union collapsed and the companies in Russia were not able to afford to import Pepsi any longer, had to pay them off with surplus military equipment. So for a little while, Pepsi had destroyers and tanks and not battleships. Battleships are a relic of World War II, but submarines, all sorts of things. And they sold them off for scrap. And then Russia eventually worked out a reciprocal trade agreement where Pepsi would be given this much vodka, this much of the other thing. So Pepsi, I can kind of understand. They have an established market there. Pulling out of it could be catastrophic. But it is something you could work to restrict. I mean, Pepsi is not an essential of life. McDonald's is not an essential of life. They're nice treats. A lot of people like to sit back at the end of the day with a McDonald's hamburger. McDonald's is in bed with Coca-Cola. So indirectly, Coca-Cola is selling products to Russia, just not directly. Whereas Pepsi is whole hog. They're in there, and they've been in there since longer than my audience has been alive. That's a tough business relationship to tap out of. There's another couple retailers, but nowhere near as big, that are happy to keep doing business in Russia. But it just shows you how toothless these boycotts are, because the multinationals are still going to do what they want to do, and they're still going to make their money. Stolichnaya, they're run out of Latvia, and none of their ingredients are sourced in Russia. So they're just taking their bottles, they're removing the made in Russia part, because no part of that vodka was Russian. But they've been marketing it as Russian for a long time. There'll be a name change on it to Stoli, because Stolichnaya has the brand name of being a Russian vodka. You see the cute tricks they play? Let's rename it. Let's not tell people what we're doing. Let's just rename it and relaunch it, and we're all good. the tricks they play. And the funny part is, they do it out in the open. These things are announced if you read the right papers. There's no secret about it, but you don't hear about it either. They're not going on TV and saying, McDonald's is still operating 100% in Russia. They're not coming out and telling you that Pepsi is still operating the same that they always have. They're not telling you Stolichnia is rebranding. I only find out about it because I think of myself as the canary in the coal mine. I don't do much, but when you hear me complaining, there is a reason for it. Look at that Russian billionaire who was forced to sell, what's the English soccer team? I'm sorry, I'm terrible at English Premier League or whatever the heck it is. Soccer in general, I'm terrible at it. But he's held that team for about 10 years. Him selling it means he's going to make a profit. Ooh, what a horrible sanction to put against somebody. Abramovich, I believe the man's name is. He has a yacht with personal defense systems on it, as in anti-missile systems, machine guns, a private security force. This man basically could invade a small island, get away with it, and be able to hold that island. Maybe a Trinidad and Tobago style island. The Trinidadian people, nothing against them. They just don't have a very big military. And that's what we are forgetting, because everybody's busy trying to rearm themselves. Russia's not going to be invading anybody else. They're having enough trouble in Ukraine. And the sad part is, the longer Ukraine holds out, the less chance Russia has of being able to get itself out cleanly. Because Russia doesn't have the same stockpiles of weapons that the United States has. Every year, the Pentagon orders more and more missiles from Raytheon and whoever else is building them. So when they go into one of these countries, they're starting off not with today's top smart precision missiles, but they have like from 2 or 3 years ago. That stuff's perfectly good. Use it up first. It's like that. It's like the milk in your fridge. Use the old stuff up before you open another bottle. That's exactly what the United States does. Whereas Russia just does not have that capability. And Ukraine putting up some gloriously stubborn resistance. I'm not going to tell you I'm for or against Russia. All I'm going to say is Russia was the aggressor. And yeah, Ukraine is putting up a hell of a fight. And they're getting lots of stuff in. Like Poland is giving them MiG-29s. Poland was getting ready to get rid of those MiG-29s and buy something else, whether it was the Eurofighter, whether it's the Typhoon, the Tempest, or even the F-35. Those MiG-29s come from Germany, who is currently buying a couple of F-35s as well as developing the Tempest. MiG-29 is not a bad aircraft. It's a relic from another time. And Ukraine is getting them for free because these nations simply don't have a use for these aircraft anymore. They're old, they're high in hours, but Ukraine has the technicians that they can just take these aircraft, plunk them on the ground. They're going to have better sensor systems than the stock MiG-29s, but the technicians will know what to do with the avionics and the engines and all that sort of stuff. It's not going to be a shock like bringing in an F-18, which, yeah, there's a lot of them kicking around, but you'd have to start training them and stuff. They know the MiG-29. They might need a quick refresher course on the computer programming, that sort of thing, but they're getting the weapons that they need. And the longer Ukraine holds out, the less chance Russia can win. The only thing Russia can really do is just declare, we won, pull back to its lines, and then hope everything blows over. That's really the only way out at this point. And it's sad. This started because 2 provinces declared their independence. And realistically, Putin went in as a peacekeeper. He was protecting the rights of those two provinces. Now, Unfortunately, things blew up way out of hand. And the dirty laundry we're hearing coming out of Russia is that the soldiers weren't even told they were invading until they were at the front line. Now, there is a historical precedent for that. It's been done before. It'll be done again. It's an old tactic. But really, to me, it sounds like Russia was preparing a force to be there when the two, I want to call them republics, but they're really provinces. When the two provinces broke away and Russia decided, hey, we're going to show off what we can do to the world. And they did. And Ukraine showed that they had been preparing since 2014 for this exact situation. Not pro-Ukraine, or not pro-Russia. I'm officially neutral. My only hope is that everybody comes home alive. As a veteran myself, I just hope all these poor people fighting all get to come home alive. And I know they won't. And that's what truly breaks my heart. Human conflict needs to be rendered obsolete. I don't know how we're going to do that. But war is good for nothing. Right now, Putin went in thinking it would be easy, and he used to have pretty good dealings with Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine was buying natural gas from him. He knows he'll be able to shut Europe down at a heartbeat. And all this has cost him so much. He put his reputation on it thinking he'd get a quick win. And sadly, it's bogged down. And I say sadly because when it's bogged down, more casualties rack up. The Ukrainian defense, like I said, has been phenomenal. Second to none. Got to hand it to those brave men and women and various other transgender people on the spectrum. They've done a hell of a job. But like I said, ultimately, I don't want anybody to die. Russia's clearly the aggressor, and I have a reason I'm not taking a side in this. My heart is with one side, but officially I am neutral. I am not going to ignore the atrocities that are taking place, and that take place in every war, quite frankly. And I'm not going to wag a finger at them because not so long ago, we did something similar in Afghanistan. All I'm saying is buckle your seatbelts. We're in for a bumpy ride. But anyways, ending on that note, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to buy the books down in the comments. We hope you have a fantastic day.